Tonight on Joynews Prime, supporters of the opposition NDC mass up at the Bolgatanga police headquarters, demanding to place a padlock on the police armory where election materials are being kept.
We'll
get the very latest from the town. Also in the bulletin, Second D, London Beach fire victims blame hoarding of premixed fuel for Thursday night's fire.
The fishermen load their fuel from here, and the cooks also prepare their meals. I believe the misunderstanding between the two caused the fire.
Vice President Dr. Amidu inaugurates government's Wi-Fi network for public sector schools, he says, will be the true leveler as far as access to educational opportunities are concerned.
This free Wi-Fi project is a leveler of academic opportunities, an equal opportunity window to the world of Internet of Things.
In business,
the Secretary General of the Continental Free Trade Agreement area to address concerns raised by Nigeria over the implementation of the single trade market.
I went to Nigeria in September. I met with the private sector. I met with the government authorities, with civil society, and addressed all the concerns that they had.
And as the two leading political parties resume campaigning after the brief breaking honor of late President Rawlings, there's news of the defection of some 200 supporters of the NDC. The party, however, says the supposed defectors are unknown to the party.
Those claimed individuals are not known in the NDC, and we don't know them. With the exception of the other guy, yes, admittedly, he was a branch youth organizer, contested and lost. He lost massively.
My name is Israel, and Joynews Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokomnemli here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, impactful journalism. NDC supporters at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region are beginning to mass up in front of the regional police headquarters over claims their party is not being allowed to put a padlock to the room where election materials for the December polls are being kept. The police says no other party was allowed to put a lock on the door to the room because it is an armory. But the NDC supporters insist it is standard procedure and are vowing to pass the night at the police headquarters unless their request is granted. We'll be speaking with correspondent Albert Sorry for the latest development to a story that broke this morning when the electing materials arrived in Bolgatanga, with the political parties disagreeing over where they should be kept. After a minor disagreement, representatives of the NDC and MPP reached a consensus and indicated they were satisfied.
We are here today tracking the ballot papers for presidential and parliamentary that has been brought into Upper East region this morning around 9 a.m. We are here. They have brought in 178 bags of the total of presidential and parliamentary, and we have gone through. So we've gone through. We've opened some of the boxes. some of the bags to check whether the actual numbers are those that are stated. The bags contain the actual numbers, and it's verified that it's true. The bags contain the actual numbers that have been sent to us. We try to go through to look through one or two of them to check whether the printing, whether there are certain marks that are on some of the voting spaces. We have not detected that for now, but it is not possible. We couldn't have gone through all the books. So for now, we are satisfied with what has happened. We are waiting for them to pack them in the armory at the regional capital.
So far, what I've seen is so encouraging.
because for the main political parties, that's MPP and MPP, when the ballot papers were dispatched from Accra, when it got here, they had their seals on it, as well as that of the Electoral Commission. And then we came here, they had to upload them on constituency basis. We had to cross-check the serial numbers of the seals on it. The bags were opened, we went through them, everything is so intact, and now we have repackaged them. We have changed the seals for both political parties as well as the EC, and now we're packing them back into the storeroom. So far, so very good. Yeah.
So there's no challenge whatsoever?
No challenge at all. The initial hiccup was about where to store them. The police had shown us the structure just around the police clinic where they thought that we could store them, but for security reasons we said we were not so comfortable with that structure, which looks like an abandoned place, even though they promised they were going to put security lights around it. But we thought that no, let's get a better place, and that is what has brought us here. Okay.
All right, so there was some agreement after the initial disagreement, but right now, as we speak, the members of the supporters of the National Democratic Congress have massed up at the police headquarters at Bolgatanga. Let's watch this video. So those were the NDC supporters who were claiming that they want to put a padlock to the room where the election materials are being kept. Albert Sorry, our correspondent in Bolgatanga, joins us on the line now. Albert, so the very latest is the result by the NDC supporters deciding to mass up the police headquarters in Bolgatanga. At what point did this happen, considering there had been some resolution of the matter?
Yes, Israel. Just to give you a bit of update, a while ago, there was some understanding between the NDC leadership and the police personnel here, and an understanding has been reached, and so the youth have agreed to leave the premises and to return tomorrow for a resolution on this matter. But just to go back to how we got here, what happened was that this morning when the electoral materials arrived, they had initially given a place where the materials will be kept, a place very close to the police clinic. Our understanding when we got here was that both parties said that the place did not look secure because it looked like a sort of abandoned place, and it didn't even have proper lighting. So they did not think that it was a secure place to keep the electoral materials. Now, after some back and forth in the morning, an understanding was reached, and they provided a place at the DOF2 unit of the Bolgatanga Police Headquarters. Initially, our understanding was that this place was the armory. It's turning out that it's just a room, an empty room in the DOF2 unit where they are keeping this electoral material. Now, what is happening is that they are saying that usually the standard procedure is that every political party provides a padlock when the electoral materials arrive, so that when the place is being opened, every political party representation will be present before the room can be opened. But because this place is at the police station, the police commander insists that if everyone is allowed to provide a lock and there is an emergency, like a fire, for instance, then how are they going to immediately call everybody to come with the keys to the padlock for the place to be open and for the electoral materials to be evacuated? This was where the misunderstanding started. Now, what happened was that when I came here in the afternoon, I spoke to everyone, both from the NDC and the MPP. I spoke to the electoral commissioner, the director of the electoral commission, and there was no misunderstanding whatsoever. It was this evening I got called. Some sort of misunderstanding was going on again at the police headquarters. That was after 6 p.m. So when I got here, I realized that former regional minister Mark Oyongo, who was also the former interior minister and defense minister as well, was here together with the regional secretary of the NDC, Donatus Akamugri, together with some youth of the party. And they were insisting that in 2016, the MPP insisted that the place needed to be locked and secure with padlocks. In fact, one of them said that the MPP in 2016 had to bring welders to weld the place to ensure that the electoral materials were secure. And so they do not understand why this time round they are saying that padlocks should not be provided. Now, the other members, the other party agents from the MPP and the other parties, they did not have a problem with providing padlocks, so they left. But the NDC insists that if anything should happen to the ballot papers, then they would be the losers. So they were insisting that they will have to provide a padlock to this room before they leave, to which the police did not also want to agree, because they feel that if there's an emergency at any time, they cannot call everyone to come with a padlock. So we were here when the NDC youth started making calls to town, and some of their party members started arriving into the police station from the Bolgatanga township. And, you know, the police also started calling some of their colleagues because many of them had voted and just a few of them were around. So what eventually happened was that after some agitation, Mark Oyongo asked the party youth to come down for them to discuss with police. It was the director of operations of the police here in the Upper East region who came, and they spoke, and he agreed that he, together with his men, are going to stay here overnight and watch the place, so that first thing tomorrow morning, the youth can return to the police headquarters, and then the discussion as to whether a padlock should be put in the place or not can continue from there. So that was the understanding they had before the youth agreed to leave some 30 minutes ago.
All right. Thank you very much, Albert. Sorry, bringing us that update. And the very latest in that situation is that the situation in the Upper East Regional Capital, Bolgatanga, where NDC supporters were massing up at the police headquarters, there has been diffused. But let's listen to the Deputy Upper East Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Walanyo Mensah. He spoke earlier to Joynews.
We took delivery of the presidential and parliamentary ballot papers this morning, and we had invited all the political parties to come as we inspect and check the content of the ballot papers and be sure that we have sufficient quantities to conduct the 7th December 2020 elections. And that is what we are doing here. We have all the 15 constituencies ballot papers here. Some have finished and some are still checking. They are checking the quantities against the voter population to be sure that we have sufficient ballot papers for the election day. There is no challenge. There is no challenge. We were just looking at the arrangement. There is no challenge.
So, when are you hoping to finish all of this?
Oh, very soon. As you can see, some of them are finished, and we are packing inside the police armory. And so very soon we'll finish and then pack up and go back to office.
Election headquarters coverage was brought to you by
Use more purchase of premium products via.
In other news, victims of Thursday's fire outbreak at the Sekondi landing beach in the Western region are blaming their woes on what they say is a hoarding of premixed fuel in shops close to where the fire is said to have started. According to them, despite numerous notifications to authorities about the practice and the potential danger, nothing was done about it. 15 outboard motors, several fishing gears, and other items were destroyed in the blaze. Our Western region correspondent in Athalia Kwanza has the rest of the story.
When the news team visited the scene Friday morning, some of the victims were sifting through the debris desperately in hopes of finding something substantial. Esibe Yua is a victim. She is 3 months old pregnant. On hearing the news that she has lost everything in her shop, she collapsed. and woke up with a miscarriage.
Upon hearing the news, I rushed to my shop. When I got here, I could not salvage anything. I fainted out of shock and miscarried. I went for a loan of 10,000 Ghana cedis to build my shop, but it is burnt now. How am I going to pay back? How am I going to find the money to pay back the loan? If government doesn't help me, I will kill myself.
Mary Sechi sells close to where the fire is reported to have started. She believes misunderstanding between those who cook around and those who fill their drums with premix may have caused the spark.
The fishermen load their fuel from here, and the cooks also prepare their meals. I believe the misunderstanding between the two caused the fire.
Nanapra is another victim. He narrates how authorities turned deaf ear to complaints he made about the dangers of storing premix in shops.
Buy what you need and leave the rest in the guard tank. But because of what is happening in the premix situation, everybody feels he has to get a reserve. See, non-fishermen are buying and placing it around. See, that's why they couldn't contain the fire initially. Because fuel, it's very highly flammable. Yes, so that was the whole issue. I know the fuel stored in those places. These things wouldn't have happened to the damage wouldn't reach such an extent. Yes.
So what have you?
James Obeng is the NADMO coordinator of Sekandi Takrady Metropolitan Assembly. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Now, can you tell us what your investigations have uncovered so far? Hello, Mr. Obeng. Hello, Mr. Obeng, can you hear me? All right, Mr. Obeng, if you can hear me, I want to know, can you tell us what your investigations have uncovered so far?
Thank you very much. It was Friday in the evening around 5 o'clock that we had... Hello?
Yes, so
Hello?
The question is, what have you been able to uncover so far?
Yes, yes, I can hear you well. I can hear you well.
All right, so...
Yes, I can hear you well.
What have your investigations uncovered so
yes,
far?
What we've done so far is that we've gathered information concerning those affected shops or affected stores. And... Hello?
Yes, please speak on.
Yes, yeah, we have gathered information for those affected stores, and we are trying to put things together, but I'm sure by Monday we'll be able to put things together and get the debris removed and sent to the landfill site. But at the moment, three people were affected. One was admitted at the Tenkwanta Hospital, two were admitted at the Takrady Hospital yesterday night. So I was at the hospital myself. From the doctor's report, they told us that the one at the Tenkwanta, the injury is about 97%, and those at Takrady was about 25%. This morning, we had the report that the one at the Tenkwanta has passed on.
Oh.
We quickly moved to the Tenkwanta with the Member of Parliament for Sekandi, Honorable and Speaker Pamesa, and truly we were informed that he has passed on. So arrangement was being done for the cops to take him to the hometown. So far, we are also going to recommend those who have been affected by the fire to the Maslog agency to look at how best they can help these people to get some money to kickstart their business.
All right. Now, as far as the investigations that you have conducted so far, are you able to indicate what caused the fire?
The cause of the fire was the premise activity over there. What the fishermen normally do is that when the premise comes, they buy the premise, keep them at certain places, are waiting for the fisher or their fish or whatever, their colleagues to come from fish. From the, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Buy these premise. They sometimes keep them in their various places, are waiting for the fishermen to come from the sea to take it. So what happened is that we were told from an eyewitness that they were transferring fuel from a bigger tank to a smaller one. And in doing that, they didn't know where the fire came from. It flamed the whole area. So 2 people were doing that activity and other 3 were inside. So the 2 were able to escape. And the other 2, they forced one to get out. And one actually was seriously bent, with the 2 partially bent. That is what happened. So it is the premise activity over there that caused the fire.
All right.
Our investigation shows that while they were doing this refueling, or they were transferring fuel from one tank to the other, there was also a fire. Somebody was cooking around that area, and we believe that was the cause. You know, premise is like super, and it's also highly inflammable, and it can easily catch fire when the distance is closer. So that is the cause of the fire at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much, James Obing. James Obing is the NADMO coordinator for the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly. Moving on, government is describing the provision of free internet for public tertiary institutions as an initiative that will equalize educational opportunities available to all tertiary students, whether in public sector institutions or private. 13 public tertiary institutions have so far been connected to the government's free Wi-Fi network, which will eventually be rolled out to all schools in the public sector. Speaking at the commissioning at the new GIJ campus at Joynews here in Accra, Vice President Mamadou Bawumia challenged students to take advantage of the initiative to better themselves while in school. Latif Idris has more in the following report.
Government pledged to make free Wi-Fi service available to secondary and tertiary institutions across the country has taken off today. And the Ghana Institute of Journalism new Joynews campus has become the starting block. The Vice President, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, today has commissioned the free Wi-Fi service, which is going to take effect in 13 public tertiary institutions within the southern sector of the country. Let's give it a try to find out if indeed this service, as launched and commissioned by the Vice President, is indeed working. First, we turn on our Wi-Fi, and we have GIJ, EduRoam, government free Wi-Fi, and a host of others. So let's select GIJ. And so we see GIJ Wi-Fi is connected. So addressing the gathering here, Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia described this initiative as a leveler of educational opportunities for all within the tertiary and coming soon within the senior secondary school system.
The benefits of this free Wi-Fi project cannot be overemphasized enough. Lecturers, teachers, and students will have access to the necessary educational information to enhance teaching, learning, and research in our universities, colleges, senior high, and basic schools across the country. This free Wi-Fi project is a leveler of academic opportunities, an equal opportunity window to the world of Internet of Things. A student in a less endowed school will have access to the same academic material available to his or her counterparts in a more endowed school. The difference now will be in students' own ability and discipline to apply him or herself diligently to studies. This project involves 2 main activities and a complementary one. This is the last mile connectivity, firstly, from the National Information Technology Agency to 13 selected public tertiary institutions through ECG fiber network, as well as connecting ECG district offices and substations along the route of the fiber line.
Following the disruption COVID-19 has created in various educational institutions across the globe, Rector of the Ghana Institute of Journalism said this initiative by the administration couldn't have come at a better time.
The internet is now at the core of our lives and livelihoods. Its importance is even more pronounced as Ghana and the world fight the scourge of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic is undoubtedly a transformative hurdle which has pushed educational institutions the world over to develop alternative teaching and learning methods to keep academic work on track. At GIJ, we had to quickly develop a learning management system which was used to complete teaching and learning as well as conduct examinations to complete the 2019-2020 academic year. We envision to make use of this system for the 2020-2021 academic year and far beyond. Though the introduction of virtual learning and examination was somewhat successful, along with it came some challenges. Students from financially handicapped homes who could not access internet connectivity lost out due to the cost of data plans.
The trend all over the world is that electricity distribution networks are being reused to deploy aerial fiber optic infrastructure to power information communication technologies across the world. Mr. Vice President, this mode of deployment has proven to be very cost-effective for the telecommunications services providers. In fact, using the electricity distribution network to construct fiber lines, Mr. Vice President, I'm told leads to significant saving on capital expenditure and efficiency in the operations of the network operators.
The Institute for Educational Planning and Administration at the University of Cape Coast has become a UNESCO Category 2 institute for West Africa after an agreement signed between Ghana and UNESCO in Paris. Under the agreement, the IEPA as a UNESCO Category 2 center is expected to build the capacity of the workforce in the education sector in the West African sub-region in the areas of educational planning. Richard Kodonyako has been finding out what the new status of the institute means.
IEPA was established many years ago, mid-70s, by the government of Ghana and UNDP, and our core mandate was mainly on capacity building for the Ministry of Education. So we've done this over the decades. We have trained many educational administrators for the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education.
Director General of the Institute for Educational Planning and Administration at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Michael Boachi-Adom, talking about the IEPA and where it has come from.
We have built capacity in almost every sector of education in Ghana.
About a year ago, the General Conference of UNESCO at its meeting in Paris approved IEPA's application through the government of Ghana to become a UNESCO Category 2 Center of Excellence for West Africa. The approval meant that the Institute for Educational Planning at the University of Cape Coast has become a center of excellence in West Africa. Following the approval, the agreement to complete the process was signed at the UNESCO headquarters last week. Ghana's ambassador plenipotentiary to France and Portugal and permanent representative of Ghana to UNESCO, Anna Bosman, signed the agreement on behalf of the people of Ghana, while the Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azule, signed the agreement on behalf of UNESCO to formally complete the process. So what does this whole UNESCO Category 2 Institute mean?
As UNESCO Category 2 Center, we become part of the UNESCO network. We exercise that mandate both in Ghana and within the West African sub-region. The focus is on educational planning, educational leadership, and educational research, and educational administration. Now we are extending this mandate to the sub-region where we are mandated by UNESCO and, of course, the government of Ghana that signed the agreement to support the Ministry of Education in Ghana and other ministries of education within the West Africa sub-region. We are still part of the University of Cape Coast, even though per this agreement, we have some level of financial autonomy and some level of functional autonomy.
Dr. Mike Boachi-Yadom speaks about some of the policies and programs that are going to be rolled out for the edification of the West African sub-region.
To sum it up, the expectation is all about excellence in our delivery of research findings, in our delivery of capacity building programs, in our delivery of teaching and learning.
Deputy Director General in charge of academic programs and professional development at the IEPA, Dr. Alfred Frimpong Ampamensa, talks about the excitement of the institute and what the expectations are.
Leadership, as they say, is both an art and a science. The science aspect is missing from our school settings. Most of our school leaders are appointed based on experience, not on their ability to lead. So with the kind of training that we want to tailor-make for them, we believe that they would be able to also combine their skill or their science, their art, with a science of leadership so that the schools would become better places for us all.
Assistant Registrar at the IEPA, Albert Abena Kunedu-Owusu, says the institute will do more in order to make more impact on the African continent.
The new status gives us a bigger platform on which to operate. Already, IEPA has we have the track record. I mean, when you look at what we have been doing all this while, we have done a lot. And so with this new platform where we are supposed to contribute towards UNESCO's strategic objectives, I think that it gives us the platform to be able to do whatever we're doing, even on a bigger scale.
Ghana recently indicated its commitment to implementing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as well as the African Union's Agenda 2063. The elevation of IEPA to a UNESCO Category 2 status is expected to be part of the commitment of the West African government to meet an international agenda for education, especially in meeting the SDG Goal 4 that stresses the inclusive and equitable quality education that promotes lifelong learning opportunities for all. Richard Kwejonyako, Joynews, Cape Coast.
You're watching Joynews Prime. We're taking a break. When we come back from the break, we're bringing you business news. Do stay tuned in.
Hello, it's time for business. I'm Charles Aite. Now, the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Wamkele Mene, has disclosed that all concerns raised by Nigeria and other member nations towards the implementation of the trade agreement will be dealt with. According to him, he is engaged the Nigerian authorities on some of the issues and is ready to handle it before the commencement of the Trade Pact next year. Wamkele Mene was speaking to Joy Business after addressing the Third African Council of Trade Ministers Conference in Accra.
After ratifying the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Nigeria raised concerns about the influx of substandard products into its market. Speaking to journalists at the preparatory meeting in Accra, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat, Wamkele Mene, said though such concerns are expected, they are being worked on as soon as possible.
I went to Nigeria in September. I met with the private sector. I met with the government authorities, with civil society, and addressed all the concerns that they had. I believe what the senior trade official was raising is a technical matter that is to be expected in the course of implementation of the agreement. That we've got to standardize our customs procedures, make them more efficient to enable trade flows to move and to transit much faster across our borders. That is something that we have to do as a matter of urgency, which is why there will be a meeting of customs experts again here in Accra early next month.
Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Shermanton, encouraged all member nations to support the African Union in the quest to make Africa a single biggest market.
We've done a lot of work, but the point is that we have to be able to complete the journey for us to make effective use of the AfCFTA. And I hope that we will use this very important meeting to try and audit this checklist and determine where we are in terms of all the points that I've raised. And when we do so, it is only to signal to us that maybe there's a lot more work to be done than we can imagine. So I hope that we will work together constructively today to ensure that the dream of the AfCFTA is not just realized in terms of start of trading, but in terms of operationalizing it on the ground for the benefit of Africa.
The meeting will give a final recommendation on the implementation of the deal to the heads of state at the next meeting in December.
Now, remittance to Ghana will reduce by close to 40% this year as the coronavirus pandemic continues to ravage world economies. Data from the International Labour Organization reveals that close to 1 million jobs have so far been lost to the virus. Ghana and the U.S. trade activity because of COVID-19 was estimated at $1.3 billion in 2019 alone, but 2020 figures are expected to plunge. The president of the Brooklyn, Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Randy Pierce, had earlier on interacted with us on this implication on trade ties among both countries.
Before COVID, it was about a $1.8 billion trade relationship. Ghana's economy had been expanding rapidly, and there was quite a bit of interest in investment in Ghana itself. Also here in the United States, obviously, you have a strong Ghanaian community of immigrants that have started businesses and that are part of the local economy, particularly here in Brooklyn. In fact, there's probably about 50,000 Ghanaians who live in Brooklyn. So we were looking to strengthen that trade relationship. And in fact, the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce was working with Jerry and the Ghanaian Chamber of Commerce in order to create a trade mission. We wanted to do that this past fall. Obviously, we cannot, but we will get back on track, I believe, as soon as we beat this virus and we get a vaccine. So from our perspective, this is a challenge. COVID has become a challenge in many respects, but I think we can get the trade relationship back online, and I think we can continue to grow our trade relationship with Ghana.
We do know that it's definitely going to impact on remittances, not just from the U.S., but across other economies around the world. What is the case of the U.S., especially within the Brooklyn Chamber, when it comes to remittances to Ghana?
Yeah, so I think part of the issue for, in particular, the New York City region and the Ghanaian community that's here, we were the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic for a period of time in April and May. So our economy is lagging behind in terms of a local recovery. Our unemployment rate is twice that of the national average. So that's impacting all of New Yorkers, all Brooklynites, and in particular also those in the Ghanaian immigrant community. However, I will say that, notwithstanding a new shutdown, and we're talking about a spike in cases recently, but if we can get past this spike, the economy had been rebounding and people have been getting back to work, including many Ghanaians who, by the way, own businesses and they employ other people as well. So I think that will get back on track. I hope and pray it will get back on track. I hope we won't have another wholesale shutdown. And I think you'll see those remittances pick up again in 2021.
Well, that'll be all for business. We're back after 8.
Time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Before we actually get on, let's say some shout out to the people who are the fans of this particular segment. I met a number of, I keep meeting them.
Do you have
all
pictures?
The time. No, I don't have pictures this time.
Tonight.
Yeah. But
should we mention their names?
They're crazy about it. There are a lot of them. We can't mention all their names. So let's say hi to all of you.
We'll be doing donations soon.
Who should be doing donations?
We will be doing donations.
And inviting their donations.
And invite them.
What's up? What's up with?
That's what people, celebrities, they do.
Let's get on with showbiz.
Lexus Bill. Let's congratulate Lexus Bill because he's off the market. He's been able to,
I'm sure
play a fast one.
He's breaking a number of hearts already.
I'm telling you.
I'm sure people are watching it now and saying, "Oh."
And he could.
Can we play them a heartbreak song?
Reason why he had to, do the engagement yesterday and the wedding today. Let's take some highlights.
Bill has disgraced them.
No, he doesn't know how to
brotherhood.
dance. No,
Yeah, but so he shouldn't have danced.
My brother, do you know how to dance?
No, but Lexis Bill shouldn't have. I mean, if you don't know how to dance,
yeah.
Don't attempt.
He disappointed everyone.
He's embarrassed everybody.
But it's okay. I mean, let's still
And now people are going to say guys at Joy FM can't dance.
But you can't dance.
Me?
Do you
seen me on the floor before?
Please.
What are you talking about?
Now you're scaring me. I'm scared that if I put you on a dance floor.
Let's carry on.
But Adom Praise is ongoing right now.
Yes.
Dinah Samoa, she hasn't performed yet.
Okay.
But she has a message. The reason why you have to tune into Adom TV now.
Praise me, my bida. Say, Mosha.
Wow.
Me, my bida. That be nyamin de brand yadi. Enti jidi ni biya want to ne woni twen no. Wonya ni nhira. Namnim se bre we ye pra. Onyame fa me so pese ne ma eye nhira. Na se wurade de me abeka ho nti obeye ade foforo.
Amen. Em say yemre na so.
Oh. The bar is still the loss.
Oh. Me macho.
Dinah kan sanam se misra waso brofo. Ewurade nim se twi ya na me kan wa.
Still the loss.
Still the loss.
Yeah. Is the loss. Please. Remember my co-award winning
news file.
Samson Ladi.
Okay.
Do you know that he sings? I know you can't sing to, save your life, but at least we have something, to do that. So ahead of PM Express today, he is the personality profile today on PM Express, and he's been doing a bit of singing.
So journalist of the year, you have to qualify it.
Okay.
Journalist
of the year.
Yeah. Samson
Ladi.
The original song, I really didn't hear Samson's voice.
But he was singing. Why you like that?
Hear it.
You know you can't sing. That's his voice. I am telling you, that's his voice.
Have you forgotten I sang with the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir?
You did, but you were just backing at the time.
Backing?
I saw you.
We can play that. We can pull it up now.
But why are you being like that? Samson, he was just singing right now.
Okay, it's okay. That'll be it for Showbiz. A private legal practitioner, host of Newsfile and GJA journalist of the Samson Ladi Ayenini, has expressed disappointment with the special prosecutor's resignation. Speaking on a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Personality Profile, lawyer Ayenini admitted fighting corruption is a tedious task, but the special prosecutor shouldn't have resigned.
From all angles, it is natural in his seat to be in a place where he will receive attacks. He might even be targeted, by people who may want to do him harm. But the office as set up by the law provides him sufficient protections and guarantees such that he may not need that. And as we understand, he has good security, by the state. Yeah. And so once he has accepted to do that job, he just have to be strong-headed and go ahead and do that job. So the resignation comes as a big disappointment to those of us who, try to advocate and try to see the bit that we can contribute to change the narrative about the situation of corruption in the country.
The full interview airs at 9 p.m. on this channel. To make a date. The Medina Highway has now become prone to regular thefts and accidents as a result of dysfunctional streetlights. Residents also say they are constantly attacked, especially at night, and are, as a result, living in a state of fear. They tell Judith Tando in the following report the relevant authorities need to address the problem.
So we are standing here at the Medina Road, specifically at Shiashi, and as you can see, the street lights have been dysfunctional for a couple of months and nothing is being done about it. Apart from the vehicles that are using the stretch, using their highlights, all you can see behind me is pitch darkness. So we'll be speaking to some of the hawkers, the pedestrians as well as the drivers, for them to express the dangers they face whilst using this road.
Yeah, a place like this without street light is very bad because it's very threatening to human life. Last week, around 10 o'clock, I passed by and I was nearly attacked by, some guys. So I think there's something should be done about it.
The street that affects me when I'm picking up a car here, where the boys, they can pick up a phone or they can take my money from my pockets whilst I can't see because the light is not working.
Some local taxi drivers at the Atomic bus stop have also expressed their frustration as their businesses are no longer patronized due to the dysfunctional streetlights.
But this time, no.
I have been here for some time, and there are no street lights. In fact, they are not working. We can be here till like 12 a.m. and no passenger will come to pick a car or board our vehicle. And because the street lights are not working, a lot of accidents do happen here. When you come here, thieves are always around, snatching phones from people, and they run away. And it's because the street lights are not working.
Yeah,
it's like night time like this. You can't see clearly as the street light is working. And again, people can easily rob you.
It is very dangerous because the reason is sometimes whenever the traffic stopped and it opens for the other cars to move around, because there's no street light and the place look like it's dirty. It's very dangerous.
Despite the obvious challenges and evident risks involved, residents say authorities seem to be unbothered. They are therefore pleading with government to fix these lights. Judith Tando for Joynews.
If you live in the central region, you will no longer be required to travel to Accra before you acquire a passport. It follows the inauguration of a new passport office at Cape Coast to serve the needs of the people in the region. Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Charles Amidu indicated the process to decentralize the acquisition of passports, apart from resolving the challenge people go through, demonstrates good leadership and government's commitment to good governance. Richard Kwadwonyako was there and has come through with the following report.
Anyone who needed a passport had no choice but to travel to passport office in Accra, irrespective of where one lived in the country.
President of the Central Regional House of Chiefs, or therefore Amoa Kwabuedu the 8th, enumerating some of the teething challenges the acquisition of passport has been for the people here in the Central region. He explained the opening of the center has lifted the burden off the shoulders of many.
The process had a lot of challenges, including the following, where the activities of intermediaries were necessary for people to get their passports, and these were particularly Guru boys. There was also congestion at the passport office, unnecessary delay, and then finally, in brackets, corruption, where you have to pay more than is necessary for you to acquire your passport.
Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Charles Amidu explains the move is to expand the scope of passport applications across the country and to ease the challenges people go through in its acquisition.
Next week, we will be in Wa and Tamale to yet again commission the Upper West Regional Application Center and the Tamale Premium Passport Application Center. This brings the current number of passport application centers to 13 across the country. Also, preparations are underway for the establishment of additional passport application centers in Bolgatanga, that's the Upper East region, and in the 6 newly created regions by the end of 2021. This is in line with President Nana Akufo-Addo's vision of bringing passport services to the doorsteps of Ghanaians, and it's an ample demonstration of government's commitment to good governance through decentralization and the concentration of essential public services.
Central Regional Minister Kwamna Duncan was emotionally charged in his remarks. He says the time has come for all public services to have their offices in either the district or the regions across the country.
And all others, and I say this deep from the bottom of my heart, I cannot accept that this is a region and the people must travel to Accra, travel to Kumasi, travel to Takoradi to access public service. It's unacceptable this day and era. So I call on all of us, people of this region, that we must join in strength, we must join in heart, we must join in mind to ask that all such public institutions, as for private people, you cannot tell them where to place their businesses and all of that. But if the public service could also follow that path, then it's unacceptable. So I ask all of us to join together to call on all public services, all, no exception, all public services to ensure that if you don't have offices in the district, at least there must be the regional office to enable the people of the regions to be able to access your services.
Paramount Chief of the Ogwa Traditional Area, Osabre Makwesiata, was soaked with joy as he witnessed the official opening of the passport office for the people in the central region.
On behalf of His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, and that of the Foreign Minister, Honorable Shelley Ayokoboche,
Richard Kwejenyako, Joynews, Cape Coast.
To serve as the hub.
With just 17 days to the presidential and parliamentary polls, the political parties have resumed their campaigns, having taken a week's break as a sign of respect following the death of former President Jerry Rawlings. Former President John Mahama is back in the Ashanti region, whilst President Akufo-Addo will be campaigning in the Volta region from Saturday. We hit the John Mahama campaign, where Maxwell Agbagba reports that some NDC supporters are convinced their party will make major inroads in the stronghold of the MPP. They say people are disenchanted with incumbent government. Hello, Maxwell, what more can you report? Hello, Maxwell, what more can you report? You're live on Joynews Prime. Right, we have lost Maxwell at this point, but Elting is with the president who's expected to campaign in the Volta region tomorrow. What can you report, Elting? Hello, Elting, if you can hear me. What can you report from the Volta region?
So we are heading towards the Volta regional capital for the campaign itself is starting tomorrow. Today is just a sleepover. And then tomorrow, the train will stop at Alabanyo and then Hokoi. Among the activities that the president is ready to do will be the commission of the mini hydro dam at Alabanyo. And then he also addressed chiefs and people at the Deba. Hokoi is significant because the Energy Minister John Pitano is bent on, for the first time, is going to win the seat for the MPP in the upcoming general election. But tomorrow will start the main event. Obviously, you can see that the president is in a hostile environment. How you will receive the message that will go out will determine how far the MPP will perform in the 2020 general election. Bongo is significant because a lot of reasons have gone in there to ensure that John Pitano, the Energy Minister, is able to win the seat for the first time for the MPP. But tomorrow will tell Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Elting John Brobe, presidential correspondent. Let's go over now to Maxwell Agbagba. Hello, Maxwell. You're with former President John Mahama of the NDC in the Ashanti region, where the people say they are disenchanted with the incumbent government. Tell us, what more can you report?
Well, we've been to Israel. We've been to quite a number of areas. Right now, we are in the Afram Plains constituency, where in some minutes the NDC presidential candidates will be addressing the people who we are told have been here since afternoon waiting, for him. In many of the areas that he visited, especially for the new Edubiase constituency. He promised the people free fertilizer for cocoa farmers. In fact, he said that the MPP government is currently selling the fertilizers to the farmers. He thinks it's not the best of things to do. So he's saying that if the NDC is elected into power, the NDC would make sure that they supply these fertilizers to the farmers for free at no cost. He has also been promising to develop sports in the constituency. He says when he was in government, when the NDC was in government, they actually were, in the process of constructing a new stadium for New Edubiase, the New Edubiase Football Club. But that project has stalled after the NDC was voted out of power. He has been promising the people that if the NDC is elected, they'll make sure that they continue with that project. He has also been talking about cocoa roads. He says for the cocoa roads in the constituency, he would make sure that they are constructed. He has been talking about the rural electrification program and also the...
Technology just failed us and we lost Maxwell Agwagwa, who has been reporting or was reporting on the campaign of the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, former President John Mahama. Staying with the NDC, the party has denied knowing all but one of 200 people claiming to have defected to the NPP. The persons claiming to have defected say their decision is anchored on the evidence of good performance by the ruling NPP. Nanea Jima has been following the issue and filed this report.
Clad in NPP paraphernalia, these men and women say they used to be members of the opposition NDC. They claim to have defected because the NPP has performed creditably in their 4-year term compared to the NDC's 8 years in power. They cited construction of their town roads and facelift of school infrastructure among reasons for throwing their support behind the NPP.
I've been in NDC for more than 8 years. I'm working with them and I've become an executive member of them. But if you see how they always talk, it is propaganda. And Dr. Mafutu is a regular candidate. We have to vote for him 24/7.
We show you my power, Mudia, and you have been a catch us free NDC never MPP. And NDC, Yatina Martina, yeah, you will be out. You will be a bar MPP. You who say Noma and society ba, and say ye roadway, and then say ye said Juma way.
I can't hear you for you. What's you for you? You mind you school near me SS. Because you tell me, ya a bia, me you may be a so they be also near there. This is some same. Now me call NPP.
The incumbent member of parliament of Oforikum constituency, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, is optimistic the defection will work to the advantage of the NPP in the area.
Even if they are 200, they have families and they have friends. So what they have committed themselves to go around and do the campaign so that this year, God willing, MPP will win in this Ijazongo. Right.
Constituency youth organizer for the NDC, Finn Emmanuel Reagan, however, refutes the assertion the 200 are members of the NDC. He only cites one of them as an aggrieved executive in the NDC.
Those claimed individuals are not known in the NDC, and we don't know them. With the exception of the other guy, yes, admittedly, he was a branch youth organizer, contested and lost. He lost massively and decided to come to the constituency level. He came to the constituency and lost massively. So he thought that he would leave NDC out of the defeat in the elections. That is his wish.
In 2016, the NPP garnered 72% of votes as against the NDC's 26% in the presidential election. In the parliamentary polls, the NPP had 73% and the NDC had 25%. The NDC youth organizer is optimistic of garnering more votes in the 2020 polls.
I wish you take your cameras to where the MP resides and you see, you attest to what I'm saying. Ofoluklom Amnaga Rose was done by the NDC during Rawlings regime. That was a Banfro project. So the MPP cannot claim just ownership. Where they need roads, they should go and give it to them. I just want to go road, Alhaji Sule,
was started in 2015. Was started in 2015. When they came to power, they abandoned the project. It is now that we are going to vote that they have come back to the roots.
The new Patriotic Party has intensified its campaign against spoiled ballots with special emphasis on first-time voters. The first-time voters wing in the party known as the Free SHS Graduates Association will be receiving training as part of the initiative. National Coordinator Nasiruddin Hamid says as part of their campaign activities, they've decided to educate first-time voters on how to vote in order to reduce spoiled ballots. Now, Jima has more.
Rejected ballots have been a worry in advancing the country's democratic process. Over 166,000 ballots were rejected in 2016 election, representing 1.45% of total votes cast. The figure is 85,000 less than what was recorded in 2012. National Coordinator Nasiruddin Hamid is confident the strategy will effectively help fight the phenomenon of spoiled ballots.
We have coordinators in other regions handling them, taking them through coaching and training. So our major task as the election approaches is that they are poised, they are ready, they are poised to vote for the president. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has helped them, he has helped their parents. They are the first batch of students to go through the flagship Free SHS program. So they are ready and poised to vote for him. But how do they do it? They have never done it before. So our quest or our agenda is to take them through training, through orientation, to make sure that the phenomenon of spoiled ballots that characterized all our elections all these years is brought down to the barest minimum. So
meanwhile, members of the association have reiterated their commitment to propagate the NPP's campaign message. Member Augustine Kessie says the target is to get every beneficiary of the Free SHS policy vote the NPP and achieve the target to win all seats in the Ashanti region.
To my knowledge, all those that I know who I completed school with or who are in Aswansi constituency with me, they are all eager to vote for Ali Duseido and Anado so that the good work that they have started, they will continue to make Ghana a better place for all of us.
Election headquarters coverage was brought to you by
Use more purchase of premium products via
In Joynews Prime, we're taking a break. Thereafter, we're bringing you Joynews editorial. Araba Kumsing will be here to bring you that, and then we'll have more business and then sports. Do stay tuned in.
No matter the insults and name-calling by the government and the NDC, nothing will stop me from pursuing this gargantuan constitutional rape on the people of Ghana to its logical conclusion, as long as I have life in me. Words of Martin Alamisi Kaiser Amidu, Ghana's citizen vigilante. Those words resonated with Ghanaians 4 years ago when he uttered them. But some Ghanaians, many of whom hailed Mr. Amidu when he made that declaration, are turning around to vilify him now. But that is where we're getting it wrong. So what has changed, you may ask? Martin Amidu's resignation this week. It was one that some saw coming, but many doubted it will come to pass. Perhaps the optimists were assured by the president's promise to ensure the independence of the office of the special prosecutor when he was sworn in.
I want to assure him that not only will the executive, including the Attorney General, respect scrupulously the independence of his office, but will also provide him with whatever assistance is required.
Of course, Martin Amidu's credibility and motives for fighting corruption are not in doubt. Even before he was appointed as special prosecutor by the NPP, a party in direct competition with the NDC, a party he is affiliated with, Martin Amidu was fighting causes all in a bid to protect the public purse. You recall how he vigorously pursued the 51.2 million cedi Woyome case. This is what convinced many, including the NPP, that he was the right man to prosecute the agenda of fighting corruption, hence his appointment as special prosecutor.
Will not allow anybody to do anything that is contrary to maintaining the ideals and values of the Constitution, which we fought to bring in force. The only way we can do that is to protect the national purse.
Martin Amidu must not be vilified. He accepted to serve in the government of an opposing party because of love for country and to some extent disdain for the leader of his political party, John Mahama. He felt pushed to step aside when he became convinced the independence he was assured of no longer existed. For him, it exited when the president allegedly interfered in his probe into the Ejapa royalties deal, which involved a man the president has family ties with, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Of course, the presidency has rejected and denied those claims. It is also easy to dismiss Mr. Amidu's claims that his office was not resourced, given the documents the presidency has put out in the public domain as proof of efforts to resource the office of the special prosecutor. But we all know how he had to complain several times before the necessary budget for his office was made available to him. To make matters worse, staff seconded to his office were allegedly found to have been compromised during the investigations. In fact, according to Mr. Amidu, one of the investigators is alleged to have said that the contracts for sale case involving the dismissed PPA boss was so good that each of them could benefit from it. Here was a man who served his nation for 2 years without salary, trying to remove the mask off the faces of those raping the country through their corrupt acts, and yet many whose integrity cannot match his vilify him.
Nanka Nivetino, they were going to question his medical reports from Germany. They called me and put us here. We were going to question, but Mahama says we should stop.
Mr. Amidu, who has never been one to shy away from fighting back allegations, quickly denied the claims.
I've never been to Germany on any occasion. For a medical checkup. I don't know any German hospital, and therefore his allegations are false.
Even worse, the attacks on the citizen vigilante moved beyond verbal to threats on his life.
These threats about burgling me, armed robbery, burning my house, I'm aware. I know the persons involved. I put my life on the Republic of Ghana, and the president will be responsible for anything that happens to me.
These are clearly worrying signs for our democracy. No citizen must be made to feel as such. His mother party, the NDC, whose members have on occasion heavily criticized Martin Amidu for, among others, being a bootlicker, in a bid to capitalize on this, vow to hold President Akufo-Addo responsible should anything happen to the former special prosecutor.
NPP, that the Ghanaian people will not sit down and watch them extend their wickedness to Mr. Martin Amidu. Therefore, should anything happen to him, President Akufo-Addo will be held responsible.
Well, the president has directed the Inspector General of Police to provide round-the-clock security for Mr. Amidu. That is all well and good, but he must go beyond that and ensure the attacks against Mr. Amidu stops. Because love him or hate him, this is a man who is single-handedly trying to change the narrative on our corruption culture. Imperfect he may be, but there's no denying the incontrovertible fact that he's a treasure of the state. And so the vilification must stop.
Hello there, we're back with business. Auto Plaza Limited, an authorized partner of Hyundai vehicles in Ghana, has introduced the all-new 2021 Hyundai Creta Deluxe Edition 5-seater SUV now onto the Ghanaian market. Now, the vehicle, which represents new thinking and new possibilities, is manifested in its design. There is more in this report.
Two all-new 2021 Hyundai Creta Deluxe Edition 5-seater SUV and Hyundai Grand i10 GL sedan have been launched and introduced onto the Ghanaian market by Auto Plaza Limited. The Creta SUV has unique features, which includes a 6-speed automatic transmission with a smart key engine, push start and stop button. CEO of Auto Plaza, Jihad Hijazi, has been telling us more.
So this is a new generation 1.5 liter engine.
1.5 liter.
So the previous generation, the first generation of Creta was fitted with a 1.6 liter engine. This is a 1.5 liter engine, which is actually more powerful, and it consumes less fuel once again.
Beautiful. That is great. And it was actually very quiet when I started.
Exactly.
Very, very quiet.
Even though, despite being indoors, you could barely hear the engine when you started.
Exactly.
And once again, I mean, this is all going back to what they call NVH.
I would love to travel if I have a car like this. How much can I park in the back?
Shall we see?
Let's take a look. Yeah.
Also, the Hyundai Grand i10 GL sedan comes with exceptional features like power steering with tilt function, keyless entry and central door locking system, amongst a host of other incredible features. Hijad Hijazi says the Grand i10 GL sedan is a unique vehicle at reasonable cost.
So once again, this is an entry-level vehicle.
Yeah.
The Grand i10 comes in two configurations. It comes in a sedan version like we've seen today. It also comes in a hatchback version.
Oh, that's it now.
And the hatchback version comes in also in a 1.2. However, we have the choice of a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine, which is even more fuel efficient than this one.
Super duper.
Okay, so in terms of the price, we were able to get Hyundai, and Hyundai has done a fantastic job to build a much better vehicle for a slight increase from its previous generation.
The previous generation.
Okay, so this is the second generation Grand i10, anywhere around high 12s, so it's around 12,900, and can go all the way up to about 15,000 or so in terms of the highest of the options for the bigger vehicles.
So depending on which option you're looking at, say $12,900 up to $15,000?
Yes.
Just that?
Just that.
Auto Plaza Limited since 2004 has grown into one of the largest, most diversified and professional vehicle distributors in Ghana. And the 2021 Hyundai Creta SUV and Grand i10 GL sedan models are currently available at the company's showroom for Ghanaian consumers to purchase. Nicholas Brown's report for Joy Business.
In a related development, automobile firm Nissan has announced it will commence assembling of its vehicles from the third quarter of next year. This was after it formally settled on Japan Motors as its local partner to assemble these vehicles. The managing director, Salem Kalmoli, has been speaking to my colleague, George Rafi.
We're excited that we have got it. It wasn't expected. It wasn't automatic. Two other companies wanted to have the appointment as assembler in Ghana, and Japan Motors was the third. And there was due diligence. They came, they visited us, they looked at our financials, they looked at our history, and as you know, Japan Motors had a long history. And after that, Nissan decided that no, the appointment will be to Japan Motors, yes.
So what are you going to bring onto the table? I mean, we know you as a distributing outlet. Yes. Now you're moving into assembling. Do you have the expertise to do this?
Oh, that's a good question. And if you were there yesterday, okay, we've done it before. We were assembling vehicles, Nissan vehicles, from 1968 all the way to, I think, 79, 80 when we stopped. So we were assembling vehicles. We have the, yes, we know what it takes. And what we're bringing in is the facilities, a great location, which is in Tema. You need to be very close to the port because you're getting containers. And number two, it's good that when you assemble, you also have, you're very good, you have the distribution network, the branches in the country. So this is what we're bringing in.
One would ask that all other things being equal, what period are you hoping to start the process in assembling? And
well, this depends on Nissan, collaboration with them. We have started, let's say, our plan is to start the process. Right now we've started with civil works. We've identified the place and started the civil works. By the time we finish with the civil works, procure the equipment, you know, the assembly equipment and testing equipment.
And that's it by way of business. I'm Charles I.J. Gary L. Smith is on standby for sports.
Thank you for staying with us on Joynews Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith with the sport. First of all, the Ghana Premier League Match Day 2 is here, and 2 matches have been played today. Let's get a quick update of what we've seen today. So as you see on your screens, 11 Wonders have beaten Dwarfs by 2-0. And in the game that's just finished in the last 15 minutes or so, Great Olympics have beaten Legon Cities by 3-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium. This man was instrumental, Gladson Awako, at the Olympics. So yes, this was the final score at the Accra Sports Stadium. Great stuff happening there to Accra Great Olympics. So that's the results for today. There'll be more matches this weekend, and you can go to our social media pages for updates on the matches and when they will be played. Now let's go on. Okay, so here are the matches on the screen. And then we also have some other matches in Bichem versus Wafa tomorrow. So that will be in the Bono area. And then on Sunday, we have the bulk of the rest. Dreams versus Midiama, Chelsea, Kosoko, which will be live on Joy FM from 3 p.m. King Faisal Adriana, Sharks, Liberty Professionals, and Karela Inter Allies. On Tuesday, Heart of Folk versus Ashgold, 6 p.m. also live on Joy FM, our first ever Ghana Premier League Tuesday commentary match. Moving on, and Asante Kotoko have been in the news as they, some people say, fight with the GFA. Now, the GFA will meet the chief executive officers of the 18 Ghana Premier League clubs on Monday, that's November the 23rd, to deliberate on the ongoing issues in the top flight after match day 1. There were a couple of problems that popped up after the first round of games, with the top one being the inability of clubs to video record their own games.
The assurance from the Ghana Football Association came after Kotoko threatened to refund money from the Ghana Football Association for broadcast rights of their matches for the 2020-21 Ghana Premier League season. Kotoko also demanded a copy of the contract between the GFA and Star Times. The Porcupine Warriors management also indicated they will need to know their obligations and rights before they will allow Star Times. They said, "Your threat of hauling us before the disciplinary committee is well noted, and we shall accordingly appear before the committee should the need arise." The record Premier League champions also added, "We are sorry to inform you that until and unless you provide us reasonably proof that we are infringing on any law of the GFA, we shall continue to explore our rights guaranteed under Article 73(1) of the GFA Statutes 2019, which states that 1,000 Ghana cedis to the Ghana Football Association, granting them permission to videotape 34 matches this season." However, after keeping the money for 2 weeks, the GFA decided to refund the money to avoid further confrontation with the club. The GFA followed up with a letter threatening all members they will be hauled before the disciplinary committee should any proceed to record the matches without permission from broadcast right holders Star Times. Kotoko insisted they had right as members of the FA to record the matches, and they've been able to get the backing of at least 7 clubs. Midiame SC is one of the clubs who have also declared their intent to refund monies from the FA should they insist clubs cannot record their matches. The FA say a meeting on Monday with the chief executive officers of clubs in the country will have the issues resolved.
That's the sport for now. Thank you for your time. Gary L. Smith here.
And we have just enough time to wish you good night, but ask you to stay tuned in, because up next we're bringing you PM Express Personality Profile with something Ladi Ayenini. Do stay tuned in and have a great weekend.